Mark Carney supporters do often praise his mastery of global finance, but does that understanding come with a massive conflict of interest? Brookfield COO, the original Justin Beber, spoke to the House of Commons yesterday about his conflicts or potential conflicts of interest.
Was the long-term performance pay structured when Mr. Carney was at Brookfield? Are you able to tell us what metrics determined that pay?
While he was an employee of Brookfield,
Yep.
like every executive, Mr. Carney was entitled to a compensation package that was comprised of several components. He would have been entitled to a base salary, a short-term annual bonus that's generally expressed as a percentage of that salary, and then the long-term incentive plans that align all of our executives with our shareholders and our clients in both the funds and in the overall performance of Brookfield.
When Mr. Carney left Brookfield, did he retain his unvested interests on standard terms, or were any of his arrangements modified because he was entering public life?
He left on standard terms. He terminated his employment on January 16th.
Standard
he took
terms.
everything that was vested and departed.
Not a good look.
Tell you what else is also not a good look is the chief operating officer of a multi-trillion-dollar company or whatever the hell it is doesn't know what the word comprises means, or comprised actually was the word he used. I just like, what have we just given up on this language of ours? I suppose we have, haven't we? But anyway, as for the rest of this malarkey, yeah, it keeps getting stinkier and stinkier, doesn't it? And the Tories have jumped on this straight away. They released a press release about an hour ago where they've come out and, they've put it in their very sort of partisan terms, but they're zeroing in on this. And as has been the case, even before he became prime minister, this is one of his biggest weaknesses, if not his biggest weakness, is that this relationship that he's had with Brookfield, it's messy, given that Brookfield's tentacles are in almost every sector of Canada's economy, and also in the United States, with whom we're now supposed to be in a trade war and supposed to be the kind of raison d'etre of Mark Carney's, government. So yeah, it's not going to go away, is it? It's just relentlessly awkward. The only thing that I'm sort of waiting for, I guess, for this to get to the next level is when it finally breaks through into like CBC, CTV world and all the rest of it. Because if that was the only news that you read, you would know nothing about this at all.
Indeed, and it does seem like the entanglement gets deeper between Brookfield, Canada. Our investments we've been making, we sent $500 million to that European Space Agency, and Brookfield owns 50% of the real estate that the agency is located on. So you can Google it yourself. There's so many little connections that keep coming to light. And as we're about to hear again from Justin Beber, there's potentially 2,000 conflicts of interest, and we've only had 5% of them disclosed to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Beber, you stated earlier that there are 2,000 Brookfield-owned and operated companies. I would note that only 103 of these companies have been publicly disclosed by Mr. Carney and are subject to his ethics screen. In other words, 95% of Brookfield companies are not the subject of the ethics screen. Will you undertake to provide a list of the 1,900 other Brookfield companies?
I presume that in conversations and the and discussions with the ethics commissioner, that list was produced based
I'm asking
on
you, will you undertake to provide us with a copy of that list? Because when a Brookfield company makes money, Brookfield makes money. You said that. And consistent with that, The success of any of these companies contributes to the value of Mr. Carney's stock options. And so I would submit that it is of material interest. Canadians do deserve the right to know what these other 1,900 companies are, 95% of which are not subject to the ethics screen. So again, will you undertake to provide that list?
Many, many, many of those would have no ties to Canada.
So the answer is no. Is that your answer?
I will take it away.
You'll take that under advisement?
Sure.
Okay.
So that was only yesterday in the House of Commons. Seems like a pretty big story, but if we go to the CBC website, let's see what the headlines are. They're always usually gets a chuckle from one or two of them. Look that up. You got it, Ian?
It's Ukraine. Ukraine is the top story.
Well, it's another good, well, not good story, but it is a top story.
It's certainly a big story. And then the next one, if you look at the right column on below, endangered barred owl makes extremely rare appearance. That's why we're here. That's why we do this.
Oh, look, something's coming to Canada. Brewing school is relocating to Montreal. That's some capital flowing towards us. Dancing with the Stars, Gen Z. But yeah, nothing about this conflicts of interest talk at the House of Commons.
How many people have died in Gaza since the ceasefire? That's there. That's obviously of enormous importance to Canada and Canadians. Yeah, I mean it's sad, but the Tories, if they're going to go on this hard, and I would say that's suggested by them sending through that press release this morning. Usually, with the first thing they send through, they intend to actually make a noise about it, but they send a lot of stuff, so it's hard to say. But yeah, I reckon if they pick that up and they do a press conference, Pierre Poilievre or something does a press conference about it, then they'll be forced. CBC will be forced to report on it at least a little bit.